I had to stop talking about what I was interested in doing to most of the people in my life. It was always really important to me to learn how to take care of myself.
The thing that everyone's trying to do is like have the most partnerships.
I can't do anything. And it was like really hard at the first few months.
A 15-minute workout is way better than no workout.
Yes.
A partnership, when you do something like that together, is like getting married.
For me
I think
too.
a lot of women aren't good at asking for help.
I am curious, like, why do you want to work with me?
I'm here sharing inspiring stories about fearless entrepreneurial women to help encourage you to live your life unapologetically. I'm your host, Heather Blankenship. Welcome to the Unapologetically Me podcast.
On today's episode, I'm going to be chatting with Miss Emily Davis. And the reason that I have her on to talk to us today is because at my most recent women's event, she won the Intentional Woman Award. And the reason she won that is because, y'all, she shows up to every education session. She shows up to her coaching session. She's pouring into other women in the community. And what sets her apart from the other people who are doing that is she's actually taking action. She's bought multiple properties. She's partnering with people. Her and her husband own a physical therapy business. She's a mom. She is literally killing it in all areas of her life. And I'm so excited to talk to her about how she's actually pulling that off. So make sure you tune in for the whole episode. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So when I was deciding what podcast I was going to record while we were here, you were one of the first people that came to mind because you may not realize this, but you are truly really involved in the community. And you not only are you in, because there's a lot of people who are really involved. And there are lots of people who are taking action. But when we see you, not only are you involved in the community, you're actually like buying properties, you're helping with your husband's business, you're a mom, like you are doing all of the things, right? You aren't just a real estate investor. You aren't just a mom behind the scenes. You're truly embodying that like whole vision of people being wealthy in all areas of their life. So when I think of you, that's how I think of you.
That's great.
And so I'm curious. I don't truly believe in like balance because I think it looks different for everybody. Mm-hmm. How do you structure your time to be able to do all of the things that you do?
Well, I think this goes back a long ways, actually. I have always been a big believer, and I practice a lot of self-care. So I really have spent a lot of time and energy before I was married doing things like self-exploration and yoga, meditation, nutrition. And I was a nurse for a long time, and I just saw how imbalance really affects people negatively, mentally, spiritually, physically, you know? So it was always really important to me to learn how to take care of myself. And in the healthcare world, we oftentimes focus on like the disease, but not necessarily holistically the person. Right? So all my papers and like research and everything in nursing school, I was always that student that was like, how do you balance your life? What are we missing here in health, right? But I was practicing that on the back end, learning about all these things. And I really was passionate about that. In fact, before I was married, I led a few wellness retreats down in Mexico with women that basically was teaching them how to create balance in their life in a very simple way. From nutrition to creativity to having fun and connecting with nature. And it doesn't have to be complicated, you know? So now that I'm married with kids and I'm kind of on this journey of exploring this whole new area of my life, it's still important to involve that piece of it. And my husband is also very much in the self-care arena. So we love to do those things together. We love to exercise together. We like healthy eating. We meditate together. We love to just paint, just like explore all the areas. It's not easy, especially with like the kids and then work and all the things.
And you have little kids. You have a 4 and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And so how are you balancing that with them? How do you find, I guess the question that I'm always asked is like, how do you get the time to do those things together when your kids are so little?
I would say that when my first son was born, that was one of the hardest times for me, even though I really wanted to be a mom and I loved my son so much. All of a sudden, all of my like freedom was just taken away, right? So before I could just jump in the car and go to the gym or go for a run or go to yoga class or whatever. And now it was like, oh my gosh, I have to breastfeed, I have to do all these things. I can't do anything, you know? And it was like really hard at those first few months. So I worked it out just with my husband, and I had to really like make it okay in my mind that like, well, maybe before when I used to be able to take care of myself in this larger way, now it's like, how do I chunk it down to take care of myself in the way that I can right now? Maybe I don't have as much time, I don't have as many resources, and I really need to be here for my child. So if somebody can hold my baby and I can go around the block for 15 minutes, just walking and breathing, that's how I'm gonna take care of myself today, because that's what I can do today, right? So it was like a really shift in perspective, and like I had to really tell myself that this is where I'm at right now. And like, it was hard to accept that, honestly, but.
So I think there's like a huge gold nugget right there. Because before we have kids and a spouse and all these businesses and a million commitments, you can go to the gym for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You can be on your phone, you can do all these things, and you can take forever at the gym. Because what else do you got to do, right? And so you get used to, I need an hour to go work out. I need 2 hours to go work out. If you count in travel time and you're used to being at the gym for an hour. But getting used to like, I can get a 15-minute workout in. I can get a 15-minute workout in. Or whatever that one thing is for you. That mindset shift can be huge because for some reason we think of things in absolutes or all or nothings. Like either I work out or I don't. Not like a 15-minute workout is way better than no workout.
Yes, and people do think in absolutes, and so it's interesting because I find it to be a very like American mentality where it's like an extreme thought, right? Like an extreme way of thinking. It's like I either go all in or I go all out, right? I was like, New Year's resolution, I'm all in. I'm on the diet. Well, and then I, go to Culver's one night and it's all over, right? Like now, I messed up that one time, it's all over. But I always think but it's not that. It doesn't need to be that way, right? Like we can do things in moderation, and self-care can be in moderation too. Like, okay, well, I can't get it. Today I couldn't get it in, but tomorrow maybe I can get it in. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be like a perfectionist sort of like, or extreme idea of like being all in or all out. We can be somewhere in the middle.
Ladies, it's time to redefine the conference experience with the Society of Entrepreneurial Women Retreats. Step inside a world tailored for women just like you, where you can lead, learn, and unwind in style. Our retreats offer everything from insightful investing sessions to fun activities like salsa dancing, boat cruises, food tours, and so much more, ensuring you come back not just inspired, but truly refreshed. Join a community that celebrates you wholly and supports your every endeavor. Ready for a retreat that changes the game? Visit the link in our show notes and find out how you can be part of this exclusive experience.
So if you're talking to the mom who's like, I'm totally drowning, I don't even know where my like baby step is, what kind of advice would you give her?
Well, I would first probably ask her like, what do you feel like you need right now? Right? 'Cause sometimes it's just like, I need a shower.
Right? Yes.
I'm hungry, or like, I just need to get away. I just need to be alone for a few minutes, So first of all, identifying the need, because sometimes we are giving, or we're so scared, we don't even know what we need in the moment. And then we have to tell somebody that need, right? Because there's probably people around us that actually want to help us. And I wasn't always great at asking for help. So that was a learning process for me too.
I think a lot of women aren't good at asking for help. And then I also feel awkward when I get help.
Yeah.
Like I feel a little bit uncomfortable and like I've got to get up and do something more to make up for it.
Yeah.
Why do you think we feel that way?
I don't know, but I have met women who don't feel like that.
No, okay.
I've met people that like they have no remorse. They're like,
you do it all.
They don't
you
care.
Do it all.
They want everybody to do everything for them. They don't feel guilty about it. I'm like, wow, I'm taking notes, But I'm not sure like why we're like that and why some women are and some women aren't. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds. And so like, I think that sometimes if we are not taught in our growing up, that it's okay to ask for help and how to do that or something, maybe we don't grow up with that skill. I'm not sure. but it's something that I've actually had to learn to do. And I think it's one of the greatest resources that we can give ourselves in our relationships with others and with ourselves and with our business or you know, our ventures outside. Like, because whether you're a new mom and you're just like stuck on the couch breastfeeding all day long and you're feeling totally suffocated, if you just say like, you know what, I'm feeling really trapped right now. I need some space. Can you please hold my baby? Can you please hold our baby? Because sometimes dad, also I learned is that dad doesn't always know what to do. They're kind of like, here's this baby. I don't breastfeed. I'm not really sure. She's not telling me what she needs. I can't read her mind, right? And we want them to read our mind, but they're not mind readers, you know, as well as they know us. I found that like a lot of like, at least in my relationship with my husband, they're very solution oriented. So like they want to fix it. It's like, you can help me. Can you help me?
Yeah, the solution right now is really simple.
Yeah. Can you let me leave for 15 minutes?
So going back to what you said about our businesses work this way too, I'm curious, how did you go from nursing to this entrepreneurship journey that you're on?
Well, I've had this talk a few times since I've been here with different women. It's actually a pretty fun conversation to have now. So as I was growing up, I was always like the person in the classroom asking a lot of questions and kind of challenging a little bit. Like, if it didn't make sense, I was going to say something, you know? And then when I went into nursing, I got a lot of pushback from my instructors because they didn't really like that I would ask so many questions. And it wasn't that it was bad intention questions. Like, I really didn't understand why we were not discussing a certain realm or really digging deeper into something. And then when I started working in healthcare, that also seemed to be a problem in the healthcare world too, because they want you to really follow their way of doing things.
When it makes sense, right?
Yes.
Because we're taking care of people's lives.
Yep.
There needs to be
Absolutely.
a system in place.
Absolutely.
However,
It totally makes sense.
there are other options.
There are other ways, and there's usually a lot of times better ways of doing things. But so for a long time I was like, okay, you need to just stop asking questions, stop being like that, you know, it's causing a problem, you know, people don't like it, whatever. But I never like stopped feeling like that. And when I would meet people who who were doing their own thing, started a business or went on their own and were doing something they're really passionate, I always felt so inspired by them. I was like, wow, I would love to do that someday. So it was like always in me. So when I finally got to the point where I could leave my W-2, it was like I was scared because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. This is all I know. I only know how to be a nurse and like nurse practitioner. That's what I know. It's very easy for me. I can do that without thinking, right? But when I stepped out of that and into helping my husband with his business and working on real estate endeavors, it was like a natural fit. It was like, I felt like I was finally in the shoes that I had been really, like my soul had been wanting me to wear my whole life, because I could ask those questions. I could see, you know.
Was there something that caused you to leave nursing though? What was your like pivotal moment that caused you to make the leap?
I think that I always really like helping people. Like genuinely, I really enjoy helping people. But I felt like my passion is more on like the wellness spectrum of things than like the illness spectrum of things. And especially like during the pandemic, the healthcare realm got very strange. And there was a lot of pressure to do things a certain way that I didn't necessarily agree with anymore. And I started to question a lot of things. And I also, being a mom, now I just caring for an entire population of beings plus my family started to feel very exhausting, because you really care about your patients. They require a lot of your energy in ways that other professions don't require of you, you know? So I was kind of ready to just take care of my family, you know? And also, I just, you know, when I came across the society and I had my introduction call, I remember sitting on the patio with my husband, and I was just like, you know, I feel like I'm just really ready to start meeting with women who are fulfilling their passions and taking a leap of faith and trusting themselves to grow the life that they wanted for their family.
Is he buying real estate with you, or just you're buying the real estate?
We are doing it together.
Okay. So I remember we were in Montana. This has been a year. It's almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And you hadn't bought any properties yet, had you?
No, the only thing that we owned was our land in Costa Rica.
And you met somebody on that trip.
I met, so I had met prior to the trip a couple months ago in Circle. I connected with one of the gals
So
from
the
the
platform
society.
that we communicate with the other members on.
I screened them all.
Of course you did.
And I was like, I need to meet her. I need to meet her. I need to meet her. Yeah.
And so you got a trip that was, for those who don't know, a trip that was a reward for participation and showing up and doing the things you needed to. There were like 15 of us that went to an event together in Montana. And so you screen all the people who were going, and you got your list of people out that you want to meet. What happens next?
So I had connected with Andrea before the retreat, and we had basically been analyzing deals together. And then she was teaching me a lot. And so then she called me up one day and she's like, I got into the Montana trip. And I was like, I did too. So then we were like, great. So we planned to meet there together. And then she has strengths that I don't have, and I have strengths that she doesn't have. And so we just kind of started formulating a plan to continue analyzing different sorts of deals together. And eventually that evolved into a partnership, and yeah.
Listen, y'all, I know today's episode is inspiring, but inspiration alone will never carry us to our ultimate goals. That's why I started the Society of Entrepreneurial Women. It's a mastermind for high-performing female investors and entrepreneurs who are living their lives unapologetically. In a world where most people don't get us, or they try to keep us confined in a small box, the Society exists to turn off the brakes and set you free. We have weekly calls covering investing, wealth building, health, relationships, family, and a whole lot more. We have small tribes to hold each other accountable to our goals. We have in-person, ladies-only retreats to disconnect and drive each other towards our dreams. And most importantly, this is a community where you can be unapologetically you. Celebrate your wins, scream your successes from the top of the rooftop, become best friends with women who get you. We're 3 years in, and I can honestly say my best friends today are all from the Society. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
And y'all bought a property together?
We bought a property in Tucson, Arizona together, which is an Airbnb.
So I think we should stop and talk about that for a minute. I feel like in a lot of the other conferences we go to or masterminds, everybody's like, let's partner together, let's do a deal together. And it's like the thing that everyone's trying to do is like have the most partnerships.
Oh.
And I really think that is the wrong way to do it. And there's so many people who are going to be mad at me for saying that. But a partnership, when you do something like that together, is like getting married.
Yeah.
And if it goes wrong, you literally have to like get divorced.
Yeah.
And so you need to date this person. You need to court them.
Yeah.
And you did a really good job at that. You're researching them in Circle. You're reaching out before we get there. Then you're meeting them in person. You're doing some deal analyzing together. You really kind of courted Andrea.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but I guess that's what I was doing.
Before y'all became partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what were some of those like green flags for y'all that caused you to want, because I mean, she was a total stranger to you before the mastermind.
Yeah.
So what were some of those kind of green flags that were like, yeah, I think this is going to be a good idea? Have you bought deals with her since then?
We just made an offer on a piece of property in Costa Rica together. We'll be closing at the end of this month.
So you're buying a second deal with her in the course of a year. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And we've actually formed an LLC together. So the green flags would be, she was always accountable. So like if she said she was going to do something, then when we talked next, she had already looked it up and figured it out. She was always available also. Not in like always available like at my beck and call, but she was available in the sense of because I was very much way newer to all of this than she was. So I would just be totally upfront. I'm like, I don't know where to, I've gotten this far, and this is as far as I've gotten. What do I need to know from here? And she was able to give me the knowledge that I didn't have. Then in various deals that we went over, I was able to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? come back at her with different questions and not necessarily agree with her all the time.
These skills that you'd gotten as a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were able to go back and forth like this without being offended, like there wasn't drama. It was just kind of like
a healthy checks and balances.
Yeah. And I felt like we could be really raw and honest with each other.
Okay, so was this one of the first people, probably besides your husband, who like truly celebrated the curiosity that you've had about things?
And I asked her, I was like, I am curious, like, why do you want to work with me? Like, she's like, I just like your perspective on things. I like the way you think.
How did it feel to like meet somebody who was celebrating something that other people had made you feel like you needed to suppress?
It felt so good, and it felt like so freeing, because I was like, oh, I don't need to be different. You know, I mean, I think we all have things we can work on to be better human beings.
Yeah.
But there are some things, some gifts that we have that sometimes may not be observed as gifts unless somebody sees them as gifts, or maybe we weren't told they were gifts, right?
Or we hadn't learned how to use them in the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that my thinking was interesting, you know? So there was a lot of, I felt like I could trust her, and I know that the partnerships still don't always work out, but it's also evolved into an amazing friendship, and we both continue to learn and grow together. So it's like, what are we reading now? What book are we going to focus on now? What are, resources that she's learned about, resources that I've learned about. So just sharing and holding each other accountable, not getting down on each other or being hard on each other, but still kind of realizing that we have goals that we want to meet, and we're both doing the best we can to meet those goals. And it's not a perfect process, but I'm learning.
I love that y'all were able to meet each other. I feel like creating this society was the first time I truly had girlfriends that were like me, that were interested in the things that I literally had to start a business to find these women, which it sounds like you have too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy how that works out.
Yeah, it's, I had to stop talking about what I was interested in doing to most of the people in my life. Like, they all thought I was crazy, and here she goes again on one of her ideas. And, so I finally was like, it's okay. You don't need to know.
Do you feel like those relationships just kind of disappear at that point?
Some of them, but, not many of them, because I just realized that some of the people in my life, like, I love them in a certain sphere, but they can't like see into this sphere that I'm in, and that's okay. We can enjoy each other in relation to our kids and other things that we like to do, but they don't necessarily have to know everything I'm doing or care about what I'm doing, and I don't need their approval. That's the thing that I think for a while I was wanting, was people to say like, yay, that's a great idea, you should go do that. I believe that I'm smart enough to make wise decisions, and it's okay for me to fail also. I think I was afraid of that for a long time, so some of those relationships have dissipated, but if anything, I just realize that I don't have to share everything with everyone.
Yeah, I love that, because it's okay that other people don't. We don't want their lives, right?
Right.
Why would we want approval from them?
Yeah.
But a lot of people live their whole life waiting for that approval. Mm-hmm. How do you think you move past that?
I think I reached a point where I was just so tired of waiting for that. And I also, now that I have 2 little boys, like, it changed a lot for me, because I want them to see their mom believing in herself and doing things and having the confidence to take risks and follow through with things, not necessarily always knowing how it's going to go, and being able to get through it, and not necessarily living I have to go to school, I have to get a degree, I have to work within that, that realm of work, and then retire at a certain age. Like, I want them to see that there's a lot of opportunities out there, and they can start when they're young. They don't have to wait until they're graduated from college to pursue whatever their dreams are, And so I realized, like, if I keep doing this, they're gonna see that, and it impacts my happiness, and my happiness impacts their happiness. And I feel like I want to instill in them the belief that they can do anything they put their heart and their mind towards and put action into.
So it's really about being a role model for your kids.
I think that's really where like the big push came from, because I was like, if they don't watch me do it the way I will really want to do it, they're going to watch me be miserable doing it the other way.
Yeah, and then you don't show up as a great mom either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me today.
Thank you.
I feel like we've like surface level gotten to know each other a little bit on different calls as you ask questions, and it's been nice.
It's been really nice. Thank you so much for setting this time aside to talk with me.
Of course.
Remember, authenticity is your superpower. Stay unapologetically yourself, and let's continue embracing our uniqueness together. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss the next episode.